We're in hard times and some of us are going to need a lawyer. And if you need a lawyer, don't just react to a TV commercial. Get a copy of the Lawyers Consumer Directory, which is available absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven store throughout Central Florida. The Lawyers Consumer Directory is going to give you real hardcore knowledge on how to hire a lawyer and a lot of information on issues like bankruptcy, foreclosure, and more. Get the Lawyers Consumer Directory. It's absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida.
Ahora puedes demostrar tu orgullo hispano mientras manejas en la carretera con la nueva tablilla o placa de auto hispana conmemorando los 500 años del descubrimiento de Florida por Juan Ponce de León.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana este año y harás la diferencia.
Solo 1,000 se necesitan para hacerla permanente.
Su donativo ayudará a estudiantes con becas.
Nuestra comunidad se beneficiará con más programas y servicios.
Resalta nuestra cultura, nuestras raíces.
Demostremos que en la unión está la fuerza.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana en el Departamento de Vehículos de Motor más cercano o llama hoy al 321-277-0850.
¿Necesitas un abogado? Detente. No contrates un abogado simplemente por haberlo visto en un anuncio comercial. Lawyers Consumer Directory te ofrece la solución para todo tipo de problemas legales, tales como inmigración, bancarrota, divorcios, entre otros. Y hasta te ayuda a cómo contratar un abogado. No te rompa la cabeza buscando la solución cuando la tienes en tus manos. Adquiérelo gratis, sí, absolutamente gratis en cualquier 7-Eleven.
Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV. We've been on the air for 9 years on Bright House, and we bring you issues of pertinence to the Hispanic community and how the Hispanic community affects the community at large. And I'm here with Jeanette and Daisy and Monica. And our topic tonight is going to be on divorce, and we have 3 lovely Hispanic women who are professional. They're all professional women. They have professional careers. And we're going to talk about divorce and Hispanic men. And they're going to take a shot, maybe, at Hispanic men. Jeanette, you go up first, okay? Tell us a little bit about your experiences that you had, good and bad. Of course, the audience always wants to know the juicy part, so go right ahead.
Well, my name is Jeanette, and I do have a 15-year-old. I got married like around 1993, got separated like 2 years within the marriage. And a little bit after that, I got pregnant, trying to get my marriage back into what it used to be. I'm just so used to be by myself and to get involved in different areas and try to do the positive things in my life, like getting myself involved in different type of organizations and try to get my daughter involved as well. I try to focus more on her than anything else. Like typically in our situation, there's 1/5 of the single mothers are Hispanics, and we definitely know that. And the issue here is that also 1/3 of those single mothers are the ones who are receiving child support. So maybe Monica and Daisy can...
I wanted to ask you something. You're a chaplain, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And you're a chaplain and you serve as a chaplain now?
Yes.
Okay. And weren't you homeless for a time?
Yes, sir. I was.
Tell me a little bit about that.
During the situation where I was trying to change my life and take care of my daughter in Puerto Rico, I decided to come to Florida and try to look for a better life, being very naive. I started a relationship with a person which wasn't the correct person, trying to get away from the family and not to bother them and try to have my own place. I engaged myself in a relationship with somebody that I didn't know enough. Took me through 6 years domestic violence relationship, which I regret, but I learned from that experience. And being in that relationship, I became a homeless person. And also the statistics says that it's very terrible to know, but it's a reality. 3/4 of homeless families in the United States are single mothers families. And the reality that we're confronting nowadays is that the government doesn't provide us with assistance in a way that we can surpass those traumatic circumstances and situations. United States compared with others, governments and other countries, were actually less generous regarding the income, the support that the government provide.
Were you homeless here or in Puerto Rico?
Here in Florida.
In Florida, okay. And did you have a child while you were homeless?
At the time, initially, yes, but just to protect her, I just sent her to Puerto Rico to my parents until I get myself situated.
So how did you get out? How did you get out of the homeless situation?
Well, the government helped me.
And you have a degree, don't you have a
Yes, I do have a bachelor's degree.
Did you have that bachelor's degree when you were homeless?
Yes, I had that bachelor's degree in Puerto Rico, but I was afraid of my English at that time, so that experience teach me a lot. The government helped me just a little bit, and I kind of managed to transfer from Orlando to Fort Lauderdale, which I reinvented myself. And from having a bachelor's degree in education, I became a leasing agent. And from there, I just promised myself that I would never get in that situation again.
And you're going for your master's now?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
Congratulations for you.
I became a chaplain. I look for God as a source of spiritual growth. And as well, I decided that I needed to go further in my education. I'm a couple of credits shy to get my master's degree as well. And it's been a wonderful experience, being just counting on myself, on what I need to do, redirecting myself and trying to get that kid in the right direction.
Great, great. Daisy, tell us a little bit about you, your experience. You are a professional woman. You work for the government. You've worked for the government for a long time, I understand it, because you have a retirement situation that you're working towards. And you're a single mom.
Yeah, I could say that I'm a single woman now. My kids are grown. I only have a 15-year-old, and I don't like to say that I'm divorced because I married a person that I was only with a month, and then I...
How old were you?
I was 26.
Okay. And what happened in a month that...
Well,
because,
it's so funny that you should say that you hook up with somebody you don't really know. Well, that was the case. And when we got married, he actually got violent. And he only hit me once. And that was it. That was more than enough for me.
Was he violent at one time?
No.
Or was it...
No,
it was a working up to it?
No. After we got married, he violently hit me. And from that point on, the next day, I filed for divorce. I refused to be a statistic. It was sad because I had just gotten married. I just had my daughter. But, you know, in certain circumstances, such as domestic violence, you have to make a decision that's gonna, that's gonna be a positive one for your life, especially when you have children.
So a lot of women, they wait and give another chance, and it goes on to a year, 2 years, and all of a sudden they're getting used to getting slugged by some guy. They get used to the domestic violence, okay, the security in the house, I got no place to go, and they take it. And
but sometimes it's fear too, because they instill fear in these women, and they're afraid to move on because they're scared of the consequences. And nowadays there's... When
you say consequences, are you saying that...
a lot of them will go after them. They get threatened and they're
going to be stalked.
Yeah.
They're afraid to be stalked.
That's correct. And some women will do it because of the financial issues.
Yes.
You have to understand that there's a big percentage of women that doesn't work, and they have to stay there, take it, swallow it, because they don't feel they have the tools, the knowledge, the education to be able to survive.
Yeah, I'm a little bit different.
Otherwise.
I don't believe a woman should give up her name when she gets married. She should keep her name.
Which I did.
Exactly,
I kept mine.
I kept mine.
Like in the Latino community, we just keep our last names.
And I think that women should continue to keep a professional standard, so they can stay independent.
Become independent, yes.
And as an independent person, you have an equal balance in the relationship. Because naturally, over time, a guy's going to say, hey, I'm paying all the bills, I'm taking care of you, you do what I tell you.
Well, it depends, because some men utilize that to manipulate the relationship.
That's what I'm saying.
But
machismo.
Yes, some women like that, though. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, they can become, women that like that are lining themselves up to become victims.
Well,
yes.
Not all the time, I'm not saying all the time, but that's a potential negative situation.
In my case, when I decided to have kids, we had an agreement that I would stay home with the kids to raise them until they went to school. But I did bring income to the house. I would either babysit, he had his own business, which we did lawn care, and I did all the bookkeeping. I just worked from home. To the point where he didn't appreciate that, to the point that he would always say, I never worked. But I was bringing income to the house. I was just not going out to a 40-hour job, but I was still providing for the family. Don't forget, us as women working at home, we work more hours than anybody that works a 40-hour job.
And we wear many hats.
Yes.
We're multitasker. So we can juggle 20 things. We can take care of the kids, cook, go to work, do the laundry. You know, we have a range of what we can do. Whereas a man, you know, he's primarily focused.
How long have you been on your own now? Totally.
I've been a single woman for over 15 years, and I love it.
And you?
3 years.
And Jeanette?
13 years, I'll say.
13. Okay,
Yes.
so between you and you, there's 15, 13. You're a newcomer to the set. But, you know, do you feel that you have a need for that? Or do you feel
A need
for the companionship totally from
being
morning to night?
single, meaning-
Or do you feel, you know, hey, you know what? I got my life, you know, I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm not going to rely on
When you
anybody.
said being single, it's not being remarried.
Yeah.
Like I said, 13 years, but between that, I had that relationship for 6 years. I do have a partner at this time of my life, which I've been with him like for 3 years. But nowadays, it's like I'm in my house, you're in your place, we spend time together, quality time. But you have this thing in the back of your head, yes, that how is it going to be? Am I going to force you to do this, that, get into a schedule, cook on a daily basis? Which is going to
Well,
be
you said
my...
something interesting. Why do you have to cook?
Well, no, I'm just saying. I'm just
threw it out
saying.
like cook on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't. I
She's
have
just
to
saying if he has requirements that
Yes.
exceed the ones she has right now. So right now they have a partnership, but it has its space in between. They have time for themselves.
You know, most
They
guys,
make
especially
choices.
Hispanic guys, hey, you gotta have that food.
Exactly.
Cook
That's
that
exactly
food.
what I'm
necessarily
saying.
no.
But in my,
nowadays, a lot of them do cook.
See,
in
I
my
stay
case-
quiet
Okay.
because I'm very jaded with this conversation.
Okay.
I'm a single woman. I come to the table with a deck of cards. You come to the table with the same deck of cards or better. Otherwise, no game.
Okay.
We're not playing.
Do you have any games going on now? Do you have any card games going
Again,
on?
you always ask me questions that I'm going to remain silent. Bottom line is, you know, being single is not the worst thing. A lot of women, you know, they're in relationship just to say that they have a man or that, you know, get validated by the prestige that I'm married. You know, everybody's different.
Why are you being married prestige?
Hold on a second.
Validation.
Validation.
So what she said.
it's a social status.
Of what?
Well, some women feel that, oh, I'm married. Ooh, I got a man. But you know what? The thing is that women nowadays need to find themselves independently.
I have a tumor.
Women nowadays have to
Well,
find
it's kind of
themselves
the same thing,
independently
actually.
and
Sometimes.
find yourself and be happy with your life. Once you're
Exactly.
happy with your life independently, then you can move on to make
But the
somebody else
thing is,
happy.
okay,
Or
but
for
the
somebody
thing
else
is,
to make
I don't
you a
believe
little
that
bit
one
happy.
size
But
fits
it's not
all.
necessary.
Okay,
I
but
don't
that's both
believe
sides of
that
the
one
fence.
size
Exactly.
fits all. Marriage is not for everybody. Okay, some people are happy not being married. You know, you can, you know, society labels things, you know, like, oh, you need to be in a relationship. Why? Why is my question. Why? Because you assume that just because I'm single, I'm unhappy? Or just because I don't say I have a man in my life, which people don't know. Behind the scenes, I could have a man, but I'm just not letting you all know because it's none of your business. Until it becomes something permanent, why would I tell people, oh, this person's in my life? Just like when you introduce people to your kids. I don't understand how women have revolving doors when you have kids and you bring all these types of different people around your kids, men and women. You know, make sure that that's the person that you want around your
Well,
children.
it does affect
Exactly.
kids.
It affects
does.
And it
Because
confuses
they try to identify with whoever you bring in,
Exactly.
and you're constantly changing the game on them.
And it creates insecurities,
It
especially
creates
if
a
it's girls.
psychological issue. It does create a
That's
psychological issue.
My daughter, when she turned, I would say 7, that she had a little bit more sense of relationship and everything. That's when I said, I will no longer bring a person around my house unless he's a serious or a potential person that's gonna be in my life. So after that, you know, that whole scene, whatever I do is behind the scene. No one needs to know. You know,
You
divorce.
gotta protect your kids in that.
Divorce, first of all, creates some kind of, how can I say, a barrier between the kids and the parents. That alone, that separation is a gap where people, you don't know what love is. You don't know what relationship is. So you don't know how that unity is supposed to fit. you know, you have a stepmom, you have a stepdad, and you know, the way that you're supposed to be with your real mom and your real dad is different than with step parents. So these kids are in the middle. Some of them are used as pawn. We were talking about that earlier.
Women using them as pawn.
Okay, now question. What would you, a woman is considering divorce. What would you recommend to her? If she's considering it, what's the next step?
Look at 3 factors, okay?
We only have 1 minute, so.
Okay, the 3 factors that I would consider divorce is, what is he doing for the family? Is he working? If he's not working, you don't need him. Okay? If he's not providing food and he's not paying mortgage or rent, you don't need him. 2, is he cheating on you to the point that he's risking your health? Okay? Because sometimes, you know, men cheat, women cheat, but what are they actually doing out there that you're here home doing and minding your own business, and here this person is just infecting his soul and bringing you all those infections?
What's the third one?
And the third one is, you know, is he gonna praise you and lift you, or is he gonna drown you?
That's correct.
Those are my 3 factors.
Okay, what about you? Quick.
The factors about why you shouldn't, I mean, I don't know. I believe it'd be
If a woman's going to be, she's at the verge of getting divorced.
Well, she has to look at, like she said, also economically. If he's not supportive,
what about these women, only 30 seconds, Jeanette. What would you tell a woman who's being abused psychologically and physically?
Definitely me, being in that position, I will
dump them.
With all the world, with all the love in the world, you know, yeah, you have to analyze the situation, just the repercussions of all the psychological stigma that is going to happen through your, not only for you, for your kids as well. It's not a good thing.
Jeanette, thank you. Daisy, you're great. Thank you, Monica. It was great having you here, you know, and these people will be back next week. This is Danny Ramos, and we will see, oh, excuse me, we have Jose Miranda coming on with the next session, okay? Jose will be talking with Glenda, who is our foreclosure expert, and he will be discussing the Florida situation on foreclosure. My bad, don't go away. We're in hard times, and some of us are going to need a lawyer. And if you need a lawyer, don't just react to a TV commercial. Get a copy of the Lawyers Consumer Directory, which is available absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven store throughout Central Florida. The Lawyers Consumer Directory is going to give you real hardcore knowledge on how to hire a lawyer and a lot of information on issues like bankruptcy, foreclosure, and more. Get the Lawyers Consumer Directory. It's absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida.
Ahora puedes demostrar tu orgullo hispano mientras manejas en la carretera con la nueva tablilla o placa de auto hispana conmemorando los 500 años del descubrimiento de Florida por Juan Ponce de León.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana este año y harás la diferencia.
Solo 1,000 se necesitan para hacerla permanente.
Su donativo ayudará a estudiantes con becas.
Nuestra comunidad se beneficiará con más programas y servicios.
Resalta nuestra cultura, nuestras raíces.
Demostremos que en la unión está la fuerza.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana en el Departamento de Vehículos de Motor más cercano o llama hoy al 321-277-0850.
Welcome back. I'm Jose Miranda, along with the one and only my co-host, Glenda Chauncey. And on this segment, we're going to talk about our illustrious homes, our housing market. So there's some new stuff going on out there. What's going on?
Well, yeah, the new update on foreclosures, and of course all the properties that have been upside down now for how many years? We're going on about, what, 5-6 years?
Yeah, at least.
Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac has decided to go ahead and allow current mortgage holders, now current, listen to what I just said, current, no one who's fallen behind or was instructed to go delinquent in their mortgages in order to receive any kind of help from all the programs that were offered out there. They are allowing them to take a deed in lieu.
Which is?
Deed in lieu simply means that they will take their properties down to the current market value. They can walk from their properties.
The current market value?
Current market value. They can walk from their properties with no penalties, and will have no deficiencies that will follow them throughout their lives. Now, what's interesting about this, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, as you may or may not know, that they have taken over 80% of these loans. And who is Fannie Mae? Who's Freddie Mac? We all know that it's subsidized by the federal government, correct?
Right.
So we have been saying for many, many months, we feel that there is a force of eminent domain that is going on. The attorneys that I work with and those in foreclosure defense, we felt this. We felt that something was going on where they really wanted to have control of homes in the United States.
Okay.
This, in my opinion, is the biggest red flag for any American that needs to wake up and realize this is very serious. They are letting families walk away that are upside down in their properties, no matter what that value is, taking a deed in lieu so they can take the properties over. So, you know, it's amazing that this was announced. And the crazier part, now the worst part, are those families that have been in foreclosure that have been seeking deed in lieu are not getting them. They're not getting the deed in lieu.
So what's happening to that group, which is much larger?
Well, what that means is that they're moving forward with foreclosure, which means this is going to be on the record, and they're taking the homes. They're not even giving them that opportunity to fix the problem. You know, so it's really, in my opinion, it is just so diabolical what's happening in our country, and that we're all just sitting back going, oh, okay, it's all right. It's not okay.
So when they take over these properties in lieu of deeds?
Deed in lieu.
Deed in lieu, okay. And it goes back to the bank. The bank now sells it at what, at the market value?
No, I think what they're doing is they're holding on to the properties, and they're not giving them back out. If you talk to any real estate agents here in this area, there's not a lot of inventory for people to purchase because the banks are retaining that inventory. And I'll give an example. In New Jersey, and we've talked about this before, they passed a bill where the state of New Jersey are landlords. They have taken possession and have become a landlord of a lot of these properties that are owned by the bank.
Okay.
If you read this 150-page bill, it simply states that they have become your landlord. Yes, you're going to get a good rental property, but you have given all your rights pretty much up because they can enter your property whenever they feel like it. There is no notice of coming into that property.
So this is the new welfare state?
Of course, absolutely. It's very scary, in my opinion.
Are they going to wait till the market changes? They see the market changing sometime?
Well, they're trying to convince people that the market's changing. How can the market change right now when we have 7 million properties upside down currently? And each time that these continue to go down in value and you get these deed in lieus, what else is going to happen? All the other properties where these people are staying current, guess what? They're going to come down in value as well. So they're going to be in the same boat at some point in time. Soon. So the foreclosures are continuing, nothing's stopping. Modifications, short sales, all of it is still a big game. We're still experiencing that. We've had, you know, some success, but very little success. Because we all know that these banks make more money by taking possession of these properties than really saving the homeowners.
There was at one time, at least they would put out in statements that the banks actually lose money by losing the homes. In actuality, they don't.
Well, it's impossible.
They just double down.
It's impossible. I mean, I have properties that literally up to 300% profit. It's absolutely impossible. They're all, you know, protected and secured by multiple insurance companies that, you know, these securitized loans, they literally back them up with private insurance companies to protect the investors and the trust. So, you know, what people don't understand, they think, oh, how many, you know, homes can they own? They can own thousands. In fact, probably millions is what's going to happen. And eminent domain, if you read about eminent domain and how the government can seize properties, it's very simple. You just understand eminent domain, you'll understand what I think is happening.
I thought eminent domain was only used when they wanted to build new highways and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely not. They can, as long as there's a certain percentage of property that can be owned by them, they can literally go in and do an eminent domain. There is no restrictions of land in this country for roads, railroads, it doesn't matter. They can come in and say, well, there's a percentage that we own, therefore we can take eminent domain. So those people that are current, let's say there's a community of 50 houses, okay? Let's say half are owned now by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, okay? The other half are owned by different investors and different servicers, whatever, over on this side. As long as they have that percentage, they literally can let these homeowners know. Now they have to get paid out the fair value of the property, but now that can actually be owned 100% by the federal government.
Force them out.
Can force them out. It's been done before.
Wow.
Many people have been forced out of properties over the years.
Wow.
Many
I wasn't
people.
aware of that. Now, I was talking to you about it off air, but this housing bubble is not something that just happened today. It's been happening for the last 5, 6, 7 years or more. Yeah. Now, I'm fairly sure that people already knew that it was going to pop.
They absolutely knew it. In fact, LIBOR, it's L-I-B-O-R.
Right.
Be sure to do your research, people, because LIBOR has not hit our country yet. It was exposed back in 2008, and you're absolutely correct. They knew this was going to happen. They manipulated the rates. Barclays, Spain, United States, Germany, they all on LIBOR manipulated those rates to benefit them to make all this money. And as time went on, the values and the devalue of everybody else was going down. So they knew there was no other way than a big bubble was going to happen in this country. Absolutely knew it. Absolutely knew it.
You work for a firm that helps poor souls try to hold on to things. I say poor souls
is right.
because now I feel, I feel like, wow, this stuff is really.
Yeah, it's real serious.
Tell us how to reach, get some help.
Well, with me personally, I always deal with people one-on-one. You can contact me directly, 407-738-9889. That is my personal cell number. Although I am in a law firm down in downtown Orlando, Hendry, Stoner and Brown. I also work for an attorney in Tampa. Her name is Ann Pellegrino. We kind of all awesome attorney. She is out there fighting. We just put in some new LIBOR arguments, and we're hoping, in fact, they're really trying to do settlements with us because they don't want us to move forward with the LIBOR, because that is what was the manipulation of the mortgage rates on the stock market. So it's huge, and if we move forward and we're able to get up into the federal courts where we need to be, or the Supreme Court, we could take some people down, and deservingly so. They need to be exposed for how they took advantage of the American people, securitizing these mortgages and manipulating the rate.
Now, we only have a couple of minutes left of this segment, but real quick, is this a bank issue, a government issue, a problem, or a combination of both that's causing this?
I think you've got the power is in the banks. No matter how you look at this, they control the government. So it is somewhat, I think, a relationship of different entities. But in my opinion now, really looking at this overall, the power is in the banks. It is absolutely, they determine, if they're going to be wrong or right, who's going to be jailed, not jailed. JP Morgan Chase was just given a cease and desist order because they were laundering money to the Mexican cartels and funding terrorists in order to get guns and weapons for them. I mean, listen, this is a big deal. These banks have a lot of power, and they also have power over the federal government, no matter how you want to look at it.
If you want the information, again, the phone number?
407-738-9889. My personal cell number, you can call me anytime.
Okay. I'm Jose Miranda. We'll see you next week. Okay, same time, same channel, 9:30, channel 49, okay, at the Bright House. And this is Hispanic Speak Out. Good night.
¿Necesitas un abogado? Detente. No contrates un abogado simplemente por haberlo visto en un anuncio comercial. Lawyers Consumer Directory te ofrece la solución para todo tipo de problemas legales, tales como inmigración, bancarrota, divorcios, entre otros. Y hasta te ayuda a cómo contratar un abogado. No te rompa la cabeza buscando la solución cuando la tienes en tus manos. Adquiérelo gratis, sí, absolutamente gratis en cualquier 7-Eleven.